Welcome in, everybody, to another week of First Seed Fantasy. I'm here to run through a quick few, two at each spot, two for wide receivers, two for running backs, starts and sits. I'm just gonna highlight a quick two guys looking to start this week, two guys I'm looking to sit this week, uh, and especially with playoffs here, playoffs in full swing. Hopefully, you're in it, and hopefully, you're looking to get this title for the season, or maybe you're just here trying not to come in dead last. But I'm hoping that it's here to fight for the championship. And let's get into it. Let me highlight a few guys I'm looking to start this week and a few guys I am not excited about. So to kick off the starts, I've got good old wide receiver Courtland Sutton. Courtland Sutton this week faces the Detroit Lions, who haven't been great the past few weeks defending receivers, at least in fantasy. Over the last 5 games, the Lions have allowed at least 13 and a half PPR points to wide receivers, and I think Sutton is in line to pretty much surpass that like he has the past 2 weeks and several weeks before this. Sutton can't not find the end zone. He has scored in every game except for 3, and I think he's on pace. I think he's in line to get another score this week. I don't see how he doesn't. The Lions have allowed 8 touchdowns in the last 5 games to wide receivers, and I see Sutton finding the end zone, and I think that is the perfect situation you want your wide receivers to be in the fantasy playoffs. So get Sutton in your lineup. If you already don't, you should keep him locked and loaded in there. Don't worry about the targets. He only had four last week. He's floating around 6 or 7 on the season. I think the touchdown's going to be there. He's going to get a bunch of yards this week too. I don't think the Lions are a threat to wide receivers. Next start of the week at the running back position is running back James Cook of the Bills. This man is on fire. As soon as the Bills changed their offensive coordinator, it's as if they finally figured out how to use James Cook, and that is in the receiving game because he had 5 targets, 5 receptions last week, and 7 targets for 6 receptions the prior week. And finding the end zone last week in the air, it's like the Bills are finally designing plays for Cook to get the ball in the air, and he can score through there. And that's where he's getting a chunk of his fantasy points. And I don't see the matchup against Dallas this week being a threat. I think James Cook is going to be another, high scoring running back this week. He's going to win players their playoff matchups and slot him into that starting lineup if you haven't already. This man's in line for another great week. Hey everyone, before we get into sits for the week, I do just want to highlight our good partners over at Rival Fantasy, which is a really cool new take on fantasy football, or just a new way to play some fantasy as the NFL season rolls on. If you use our code FIRSTSEED or use the link in our description and sign up for an account, make a deposit, you get a 100% deposit match up to $100. So you put in $20, you get a free $20 to play around with as well. Plus a free $25 voucher. So you can use that $25 to just play wherever you'd like. So for example, let me just highlight a little bit of fun that Rival offers and highlight Fantasy Bingo. So this is a card that I had last week. You basically put together a DFS style roster, but you're not within the confines of a salary. You just kind of pick your team: a quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, tight end, kicker, and a flex. And then you are assigned a random bingo board up to however many cards that you like to buy. And you kind of hope that your team fills out that bingo board as the week goes on. So this one's a loser, but for example, this roster, this card had over 150 total yards for a wide receiver. A tight end fumbled. QB had an interception, or RB had over 50 rushing yards. And this isn't like a combined, my RBs had 50 rushing. One running back had 50 plus. A receiver had over 100 receiving yards. But you get the gist. At least I hope. You get this bingo board, and you hope that your team gives you a bingo. And for example, I'll show here.
of the prize pool that kind of generates as the week approaches, which is like if you buy it, you add on to that prize pool. Yeah, 56% of that goes to a diagonal winner, vertical, or you basically make a 5 tiles in a row, vertical, horizontal, diagonally, or you get a tile, you get the postcard in any four corner, and you just kind of you build that roster, make it a good one, and then you hope that you can get a bingo. So just wanted to highlight that. That is Fantasy Bingo on Rival Fantasy. Use code First Seed. Give it a shot. You get a free $25 voucher with your first deposit. And have fun. Now let's see those sits.
A running back I'm sitting this week is Devin Singletary of the Houston Texans. It's as if he gets the role back after Dameon Pierce returns from injury, and I just lose all confidence. He scored last week, but without that score, it wasn't a pretty week for him. I think this is his backfield, but without CJ Stroud or a potential no CJ Stroud, this offense is gonna really struggle against Tennessee. I think the Tennessee defense has been really good against the run and they were really good in the start of the year. Then they kind of started to allow some fantasy points, but right now I think they're back to kind of really being able to stop the run. And I don't see Singletary really being a key part in this offense this week. And for that, I'm safely slotting him into my bench. And then my wide receiver sit of the week is Brandon Cooks facing off against the Bills. It's impressive how different his home and away splits are this season. Where if he's playing at home, he's playing really well. He almost had a touchdown last week to really add on to that. But on the road, he's averaging just 5.5, a little bit more than 5.5 PPR points. And that's not what you're looking for in your lineup in the playoffs. So Brandon Cooks against this Bills defense, uh, I'm not interested in. He can safely find his way onto my bench because I don't see him kind of hitting the double digits. And it's playoff time. You need double digits. And unless he's finding the end zone, which he may, but odds are on the road in Buffalo, it's not looking too great. There it is. A quick, easy start sit. Wide receivers, running backs, two guys from each. I'm interested, not interested in. Hopefully, we're winning this week. It's a huge week for playoffs, first round. You gotta advance. But if you've got any fantasy questions, start sits, waiver questions, comment, reach out to us on Instagram. We're very active there, and we'll be happy to help you try to advance in this playoff system. Happy to help you catch your wins. Happy to help you wherever we can. Just leave a comment, and we'll help you out. Thank you for tuning in. See you next week.